Любі друзі, вітаємо вас на YouTube-каналі Комісії цифрового автоспорту. З вами Ірина Кравець. І сьогодні ми будемо з вами спостерігати за 4 відбірковими групами, які будуть змагатися за вихід до гонки, яка відбудеться 24.08 на День Незалежності України. Це будуть змагання з GranTurismo 7. В нас завітали до нас пілоти із Норвегії, Южної Африки, Великобританії, Марокко, Германії, Ісландії, Сполучених Штатів Америки, Нігерії, Іспанії, Грузії та Швеції. Отже, завітайте на наш канал, ставте вподобайки, спілкуйтеся у чаті Дискорду. У нас сьогодні будуть 4 групи. Перша група стартує о 20-й за Києвом, друга о 20:30, третя розпочне о 21-й і четверта група розпочне о 21:30 свої змагання. Сьогодні в нас формат коментування буде такий. Ми запросили нашого іноземного колегу, його звуть Вебо, він з Великобританії, і разом з моїми колегами Іваном Кичуком, який є і продюсером сьогоднішньої трансляції, разом зі мною та Георгій Пачуашвілі, якого ви всі добре вже знаєте, ми будемо коментувати гонку. Будемо коментувати англійською, і іноді ми будемо щось доповнювати для нашої української аудиторії вже, власне, українською мовою. Отже, я переходжу зараз на англійську мову і привітаю наших іноземних гостей. Отже, dear friends, welcome to the official YouTube channel of the Digital Autosport Commission of Ukraine. I'm Irina Kravets, chairman of the commission. On August 24th, Ukraine will celebrate its 32nd Independence Day. We organized the race and invited friends of Ukraine from all over the world to celebrate this holiday with us. Pilots from Norway, South Africa, United Kingdom, Sweden, Georgia, Iceland, Germany, Denmark, Morocco, United States, Nigeria, Spain, today on the grid. Welcome to Ukraine, our dear friends, pilots and spectators. Today we will hold 4 qualifying races, but only the 3 groups of 15 drivers will be on the race on August 24th, so some pilots will be eliminated. Each group will ride after each other, so we have the timing for each group. Group 1 at 17 UTC, Group 2 at 17:30, Group 3 at 18 UTC, Group 4 at 18:30. Pilots have 5 minutes to join to the lobby. If someone doesn't join in time, qualification will be started without latecomers pilots. Please don't join earlier than you should. We will have 1 lobby for each group. My colleague Georgi will text you in Discord when can join the lobby. The qualification will be done by starting the qualification process in the game, so the pilot who is late can join after the start session. And now I represent our team, producer Ivan Kichuk, and commentators for today's race. Meet Georgi Pachuashvili and meet Webbo from United Kingdom.
Well, good evening. This is Webbo here, and thank you so much for having me today. You do me a great honour to join you all for this fantastic cause and great race setup that we have for the Ukrainian Independence Day next week. But of course, qualifying comes first, and I'm really happy and enthused to be here. Georgi, what are you expecting to see in this first session that is dominated at the moment by the Ukrainian drivers, of course, representing us here today?
There we have our strong pilots. It's A plus racing, and I hope for sure Ukrainian pilots will be first. But as I can see, the pilot from South Africa also very strong. He has also high rating, but to be sure, I don't know how good another pilot except Ukrainian. So we'll see. It's hard to predict.
Absolutely, but it will be as you heard Irina say earlier, it will be the fastest 15 drivers over the course of the 4 groups that we have today, and it's about getting this job done as quickly as possible. The track conditions, of course, fairly stable throughout a 20-minute qualifying session. We are at the San Croix Route C track here at GranTurismo 7, and a complete mixture of car makes and manufacturers. We've got the Mazda RX driven by Lysenko, then the Genesis X by Fletcher, the GTR G318 by Walter Schroeder, and the Genesis GR3 by Dedechuk. 911 RSR makes an appearance. Always fun to see that one on the circuit, of course, with Spirek. And then we've got the Subaru BRZ, the Porsche 911 from 2017. The RCZ, the Peugeot, driven by Trond Arne Marvold or Go-Kart Gutta from Norway. The Nissan GTR 18 Group 3, Toyota Supra, the Peugeot VGT, and finally the Supra GR3 from Zverik's F Sport, who is also representing Ukraine, of course, today. So we join with Hi-Fi Man, who is one of the Norwegian drivers, Sven Henriksen, to give him his proper title, and we'll see how he navigates this very, very interesting circuit that has a little bit of everything, Georgi.
It's an interesting track because a lot of corners and really wide track, so it's a lot of variants how to go and what car to choose, as we can see, and I can tell that maybe for me the best car for this track will be Peugeot. The Peugeot have the most high speed of these cars, but not good in the corners. So hard to say. It also depends to the driver skills, but we'll see. Lysenko Anton on Mazda also have very good skills, and this Mazda really unusual choose to this track. So I really can't predict any results, and I'm pretty sure that results will be changed until the end of the session, because as we see the fuel and tire rate not zero, so by the end of the race pilots will have less fuel in their tanks, and the car will be lighter, so it's a good option to have a best time. So
absolutely, yeah, the track is a nice wide track. It's got a lot of variation all through the lap as well, but there are some fairly frightening points at which the track tends to narrow up, and there are some barriers that get very close, as Lysenko there just demonstrates just how close you have to push this to the outside edge of the barriers, as he takes a very wide route down towards this to come onto the south straight of the circuit, and we will get, of course, those first times coming in very shortly as he now approaches the 2-minute 15 mark of his current lap. He is currently rated as the top driver here, but that's probably more to do with the fact that he was the first one to join the track after Parc Fermé. Well, we're going to have a big variance on liveries as well today, so the drivers, of course, have got a certain degree of freedom here, although encouraged to represent their national colours, I think, wherever possible. So you will see a lot of yellow and blue today, Georgi.
Yeah, it's really great to see, because for Ukrainian pilots we have some requirements for liveries. We ask the Ukrainian pilots to also use the decals with our sponsors, but for pilots not from Ukraine we don't ask, and we will happy shocked when we see a lot of beautiful liveries for example, on South Africa pilots, it's really great yellow with blue Peugeot, and it's great to see and really love it.
Well, there you have the first laps coming in then. So Fletcher takes the fastest time overall at 3:26.623, very narrowly beating Lysenko, who was only 0.02 of a second away. Dedichuk and Borovsky are third and fourth at the moment, as we see Fred from South Africa, Puma Racing's Fred, and Hi-Fi Man from Norway in the 5th and 6th positions on these early laps here. Hello to everybody joining us in the live chat as well. We will do our best to give you a mention if you wish to ask a question, but you're doing all the right things at the moment, telling us who you're here to support. Lots of love for the South African drivers, and some fans here for the German drivers still to come. But of course, wow, look at this livery. I don't think there's a sponsor sticker that they haven't been able to put on this car from Perezov.
Our sponsor.
Fantastic. I mean, absolutely covered in stickers. So I hope you can see out of that back window okay.
Maybe it's some trick for another pilots who will be close and try to see this car and hit a wall. I don't know.
Absolutely. So the drivers will be wanting to try and get into the top 5 positions overall, but of course it will be, I believe, Georgi, that it is not necessarily the top 5 in each group. It is the top 15 of all times when combined. Is that correct?
Yeah. All time for all 4 groups we'll compare, and just fastest pilots will have a part in 3 groups. So we lose 7 pilots on this formation qualification, but 1 pilot from first group already late, and so next pilots have more chances because 1 pilot already eliminated.
Yeah, interesting. Of course, yeah. So it was fairly clear to everybody joining the Discord server this week that lateness would not be tolerated. But thankfully, the vast majority of drivers did heed that warning and have taken note and managed to get themselves in. Well, we've got Fletcher, Lysenko, and Dedichuk so far in the top 3 times. Fastest time at the moment, 3:26.623. As we progress through the latter part of this second fast lap, and here we have one of the Porsches driven by Depredos at the moment, who was a fairly slow first lap, but that could be tactical.
Maybe I saw that he have a damage, so maybe first lap was not so clear, and we'll see. And I can see that this pilot forgot to buy soft and do quali on hard, unfortunately for him. Yeah,
that's definitely going to hurt him, as we see one driver already coming into the pits for a change of tyres already. We ride then on board with Fletcher, who has the pole at the moment. That's a pit stop for Lysenko and Dedichuk, possibly just putting on a new set of tyres perhaps, but it'd be a constant run of new tyres and burning off the fuel, because of course you start the qualifying session with full fuel, as Georgi was saying earlier. As Lysenko comes out, and I'm just checking in then, it looks like Borovsky has gone into 3rd position, and there's no change at the head of the field at this current stage of proceedings. We're only on the first few minutes here, of course, just 11 minutes, but that means we're about halfway through already, Georgi.
I think that Fletcher also go to the pit on this lap, maybe because he have no time later, because after pit you should pass 1 lap, not outgoing lap, that will not count it, so not a lot of time. But when you say that 11 minutes passed, I'm a bit shocked how fast it's going. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, and it's a long lap as well. It's at least 3.5 minutes if you're doing quick laps. But of course, in laps and out laps extend that. So really, it's almost a kind of a two-shot qualifying in a certain extent. I mean, maybe you get 3 fast laps if this current stint at the moment is a double header. But here you have then Puma Racing Fred's kart, who has gone full beautiful yellow and blue color scheme here for Ukrainian Independence Day. And of course, we're all here to support Ukraine in any way that we can and celebrate racing and the Independence Day at the same time. So it's going to be fantastic. Lots of people busy in the chat as well, which is brilliant. And just a reminder there from admin to hit that like button if you can. Share it with friends as well, and get your friends involved, especially set the notification on the channel so that you tune in for the feature race on the 24th, I believe it is. Let me just get that right. I think it was the 24th.
Yeah. Really appreciate support. It's really cool and really hurts. So yeah, we can see that Fletcher near the finish line, and I hope it will be box. We'll see.
Absolutely. Well, so he's only just that little bit faster here than Lysenko over such a long lap. 21 thousandths of a second is a very, very tight margin. So he will be hoping to try and move forward as much as possible and stretch that lead. There's a big gap though developing between P4 and P5 by the time I last saw with Fred. Is currently 3 seconds off the pace, so it's definitely the top 4 at the moment who are well away. And here appears to come the pit stop then of Fletcher, and Lysenko will be starting his fast lap, we think now, because he's set a 3:43 out lap on the previous. Let's see how that one works. So he is confirmed on his out lap at the moment, so he'll be hoping that he can just find that tiny margin to get the provisional pole, or at least the fastest time in this session, and the fastest of the Ukrainians representing tonight. Although we have 3 Ukrainians coming up in the second session, and a few more in the third and fourth sessions as well. And obviously we want to see plenty of Ukraine drivers, but they want to be pushed as hard as they possibly can, in their place, just like everybody else, to be in this fantastic event come next week. But time is ticking down, 14:54 on the clock. It is only a 20-minute session, of course. So here you have Borovsky, and I do apologize if I get any of these pronunciations wrong. Feel absolutely free to correct me at any point. I want to make sure I'm making the best effort possible to say everybody's names as much as I can. But here we have then the red and black livery of Borovsky, who is definitely there or thereabouts. He's only 1 second total away from Fletcher, and this is his flying lap at the moment.
Moreover, I can add that Fletcher use a VR2, so it's a bit harder to have the same time that pilots without VR. I know that Lysenko don't use VR, so yeah, and I can see that Lysenko really close to the Fletcher, and maybe it will be some slipstream for Lysenko. We'll see.
Yeah, that would definitely be of assistance to them. Of course, here is Fletcher with Lysenko right behind him. So I wonder if Fletcher will decide that it's better to follow and go slowly here, or better to have that clear air at the front of the car as well, which will presumably help him a little bit more as he comes out onto the back straight in just a few moments. This is the straight on the south of the circuit. We've kind of got a start-finish straight and the north west of the circuit. It's long straight, and he has feathered out to the throttle here, so he has decided he would rather be behind Lysenko. So that is very, very interesting, Georgi.
Yeah, not so really smart move, I can say and I think that Fletcher and Lysenko can feel the press because they ride really nearly. It's maybe not so smart move, and the guys can really hold and ride alone like one pilot. You can see on the map. It's I think more smart to have no enemies on the road. So
yes, indeed. And of course, whilst you might get a small marginal gain on the long straights, you will suffer through quite a few of these fast corners in terms of the aero performance. And if someone gets it wrong in front of you or gets out onto the marbles or the grass, it is going to be quite a distraction. Here comes Lysenko then from 21 thousandths of a second behind. Where will this lap take him? Well, it's actually 0.6 of a second slower than he's been before. So unfortunately, no improvement this time, but he's got the opportunity here with just 2 minutes remaining to finish the lap that he is on, of course, and just tentatively going through that first 2 or 3 corners. I think that won't have gained him a great deal as Fletcher starts what I think is going to be his final lap. And there's no change at the front here. Fletcher, Lysenko, Borovsky, and Dedechuk.
yeah, Lysenko have the best first sector. So I said that we will know result only after finish this session. It will be changed every time, really.
Absolutely. Well, Doran just did a personal best there and went up to 6th position. So that was a good improvement for him. And Fred is really hugging that side wall.
Yeah.
Exactly is what we were just talking about. Just the distraction of a slower car in front has absolutely destroyed this lap for Human Racing's Fred.
Yeah, unluckily. So we almost end this session. I think it will be less lap for every pilot. No extra lap. Will be interesting, really.
Exactly. So let's see how Fletcher, Lysenko, and Borovsky are doing at the moment as well. Because while Fred might well have this opportunity to qualify, he is 3 seconds away from the fastest time. So I would imagine that he will not be in a comfortable position here, despite being in the top 5 of this session. I think that once we have got all of the 4 groups out of the way, that Fred will, unless he finds some time miraculously around here, takes the shortcut through one of the alternate configurations maybe, I think he's going to struggle to qualify. It is confirmed, everyone on their final lap now as the clock has ticked over past the 20-minute mark, and it's now or never for the top 4 here to settle into their best positions. And what's really difficult here is they don't actually know what they're up against today, Georgi. All they can do is the best that they can do and hope it's good enough.
But pilots can just improve their time, not without winning positions in this group, because we will compare time from all groups, and every millisecond really worth it. So yeah, we also have a beautiful livery, Victor Dorin. It's with our national symbolic. Really cool livery.
That is very nice. I think just coming up towards the final corner now will be Fletcher and Lysenko.
Let's see Lysenko. It's near finish.
Absolutely.
So Lysenko. And I know, it's best lap.
Wow,
best
8/10
lap.
of a second faster. Here comes Fletcher to try and beat him.
How close.
7/10 faster himself. Just 0.08 of a second between the two of them. Despite the huge gain that Lysenko just made, Fletcher was almost equal to it. And look at the gap to 3rd position. 1.8 seconds at the moment. Lysenko and Fletcher very much the favourites here to qualify and produce the best. As Borovsky has gone through, it looks like Dedechuk has not managed to make a better time either. So it looks to be that Lysenko and Fletcher will almost certainly have placed themselves into the race next week.
Absolutely. I need some pause to save the record. So
Yes. We'll probably view the results in the lobby screen, and I'll try and take a screenshot so I keep a reference here wherever possible. But just the last drivers coming through now, and unless they suddenly show a lot quicker, we're going to struggle. Here is the sticker heavy Rezarov. He's about to cross the line now. He was 10 seconds away. He gains nearly 3 seconds on that lap, a personal best, but only good enough for 9th position. Gutter from Norway in the RCZ that Hyogi was fancying was probably the strongest car for this track, well, certainly the highest top speed anyway. And he did set a new personal best, but he doesn't feature in the top 8. And so hopefully we will have a look at that results screen. And here we have it then. So I'm going to do what I can here to take a screenshot so I know exactly where our times are. Brilliant stuff. So there's confirming that on a 325.792, Lysenko was the fastest. From Fletcher, some 86 thousandths of a second away. Borovsky managed to get a 327.6, but a big gap there, 1.9 seconds for the next 3 groups to try and fit themselves into. Dedechuk in 4th, with Fred from South Africa's Puma Racing team in 5th position, Victor Dorin in 6th, and then Spirik in 7th, and Hi-Fi Man from Norway finishing in 8th. We have Perevzorov in 9th, Depredos in 10th, and Gutter and Oleksienko in 11th and 12th, who will almost certainly, Hyogi, not be qualifying as we wait for our next group, Group 2, to appear in the lobbies shortly.
yeah, I'm almost done with the results. Did a screenshot. Yeah, and end this race, and I invite second group. One
It'd be
second.
good opportunity here while we swap round to bring in Irina. If Irina is watching closely, it'd be great to hear what she made of that first session, or our producer as well can win. So if they wish to give a little review of the session, and especially in Ukrainian, if they wish.
Yeah, I'm not sure that Irina watched it, as I know. She had a lot of work with iRacing race that will be tomorrow. Oh, not tomorrow. In 25, it also connected with our celebrating Independence Day of Ukraine. Yeah, so I can switch to Ukrainian to yep. Оп. Да. Всім дякую, хто дивиться. Ми намагаємося коментувати англійською. Трохи важко, вибачаю за мою англійську. Але наш колега Веба чудово справляється. Ми пройшли першу групу. Зараз заходить друга група і будемо починати кваліфікацію. Дуже щільна боротьба. Ми побачили, що, як я казав, що на першому останньому колі це вирішиться. І Лисенко таки переміг Флетчера. Буквально трохи не вистачило Флетчеру, щоб прибити найкраще коло Лисенко. Було дуже гаряче, і, до речі, пілот з Норвегії теж покращив свій час. Наприкінці ми, звісно, пропустили це, не можемо за всіми встигнути, але це було дуже, дуже цікаво.
За всіма не встигнеш.
Так.
Але ми намагалися, так.
Дуже цікава була кваліфікація. Георгій, ти дуже чудово коментуєш, і влучно, і вчасно, і дуже шикарна лексика англійська, дуже у вас гарно виходить разом з Вебо. Ми пройшли, любі глядачі, першу частину з наших 4 кваліфікацій. Я зазначу, що в першу кваліфікацію потрапило дуже багато українських пілотів. Власне, це майже така національна відбіркова група була. Зараз буде таке процентне співвідношення українців менше і менше. Друга, третя і четверта група вже будуть більш інтернаціональними. Але майже очікувано, Андрій Лисенко взяв перше місце, так, і дуже була запекла боротьба. І я думаю, ви всі подивилися, які креативні проукраїнські лівреї. Це, власне, розробки всіх іноземних пілотів. Дуже класні, красиві і дуже багато синього та жовтого кольорів нашого прапору. Отже, зараз в нас маленька така 5-хвилинка. Будуть заходити пілоти, в нас є 5 хвилин майже. Будуть заходити пілоти, які будуть змагатися в другій групі. Зараз я вам пошукаю і скажу, хто це буде.
Okay, well, stick with us, folks, because we will be ready for Group 2 in a minute. I think that's what Irina was about to say for us all. But we will be there back with you very soon, so don't go anywhere. 3 more sessions still to come, Georgi.
Thank you. Ira?
Отже, група 2. В нас будуть пілоти, які будуть представляти Великобританію, ЮАР, Україна, США, Грузія, Германія, Україна, Южна Африка, Україна, Южна Африка, Нігерія та Ісландія. Ось такі діаметрально протилежні від жаркої Африки до холодної Ісландії. У нас будуть представники в другій групі, вона розпочнеться о 20:30 за Києвом, майже вже зараз. Тому я передаю слово Георгію та Вебо. Будь ласка, Вебо, floor is yours.
Fantastic. Well, we're about to get underway then, and just to remind the top times from the previous session, Lysenko managing a 3:25.792. That's what the drivers will be aiming at now, or at least to get into the 3:25s, maybe 3:26s. That will be their target to try and qualify for next week's race. We're being ruthless. We are going to dump a lot of drivers out of these groups, but that's because we want the very fastest to take part in this special race next week. And so the session will begin very soon. Just waiting for the actual timer to take over and for us to get ourselves underway. And thank you to everyone who's already chatting on the live chat, joining us then for this second session, or staying with us. So we've got from the United Kingdom Matt Watkins, due to race with us. He's got Lioness 13 as his gamer tag. Then for Ronaldinho in the Toyota, we have Mossy in the Peugeot, and both Ronaldinho and Mossy from South Africa and racing for the Puma team. From the Ukraine, Artem Psycho, or Psycho Arty, in the Subaru BRZ. And from the United States, our first American driver joining us tonight is Priestick in the Mustang. Appropriately enough, he's gone for the Mustang Group 3. Nico Plays from Georgia, who has the tag NG Playground, is in the BMW GR3. Next up from Germany, Too Fast For You, is driving the Toyota GR Supra, the concept from 2018. Then from Ukraine, just 2 Ukrainian drivers in this one. That is Mikolenko, or MAF1FAN6, Ferrari 458, followed by also Makarenko in the Toyota Super Group 3, who is driving the Line Explosion. We've got Puma Racing's South Africa's team Mac, who is driving in the Peugeot VGT. And then another South African, but this time from the KBR group, Gila Brin, who is driving the Peugeot VGT though, rather than the RCZ. From Nigeria, Vic Wheels drives the Mercedes AMG GT3. bit of a monster of a car, that one. And from Iceland, we have Hramfason, or Jokal 90 as his gamer tag, from also driving Mercedes AMG, but this one, the 2020 version. So that is who we have representing in this group 2. I can see some love for Mikhailenko already popping in here from the chat. So clearly a favorite here, but how about you, Georgi? Any favorites you want to pluck out? Or do you think Mikhailenko and Makarenko have got a good opportunity here?
I think, yeah, we have chances, but I prefer Momot and Mikhailenko because, as I know, Makarenko miss a lot of trainings and not so good on this track. And but we'll see. I also see the Brandwin from South Africa with a really high rating, so I hope. And I know the Leonesi and DRS Too Fast from Drivers Room Club community, also really fast pilot drivers, so it should be also interesting. But I'm not sure that we can see 25 or 26 seconds here.
Absolutely. Well, just a few seconds to go now before the time is cut off. So it's join now or be disappointed for the drivers at the moment from this session. You can see some of the liveries on display on the right of your screen here. So Momot, a change to the billing as is. Then I think we've got someone called Fluffy Butt here. So that's going to be entertaining for us. Pachuasvili is driving for the Ukraine, and Kipchuk, I think, is about to join, but hasn't quite yet.
Yeah, it's we with Ivan. We don't race, we just keep look the race. But in this group, a lot of latecomers. Some guys still don't connect, and the time is go. We will wait for a 1-2 minute and we'll start, because these pilots didn't notice us and just not join, so we will see.
Absolutely, yeah. We shall we'll have a cut off and we have to move because we've got a schedule to keep. We're already 20 minutes to the hour when the next session is supposed to begin. So we're already stealing a few minutes out of the next session here. For the benefit of any latecomers, of course, we have to get ourselves on track for the sake of the drivers who have been able to commit. Now, it looks like Mikhailenko has got an all-white car, so may not have prepared a livery for qualifying, which is fine. I'm sure they will try. If they do qualify, they'll try and spend the next few days making sure they've got a good livery to show off for us. Possibly Momot as well. I can't quite see with the overlay at the moment, but possibly Momot, who's not got a custom livery on, but we shall see as they get ready to tackle this Saint Croix Route C circuit, the longest circuit on the Saint Croix configuration list. And they'll be racing around the mountains, and but of course in stable conditions. And we did see the fastest times at the end of the previous session. Remember, the drivers are aiming for 3:25 or 3:26 at the moment to try and qualify for next week's race.
Absolutely, yeah. So I can see one pilot who joined. Maybe it's his last chance, because we almost done, and I want to start. Yeah, pilot from South Africa. Wait him when he connected, and yeah, just start
on his way. And it looks like Vic Wheels was the most recent one. Yeah, so Fluffy Butt thankfully will not be racing for us today. Very strange name, but he's gone, so to be replaced by Ronaldinho, who is on his way. So let's have your predictions then from the chat. I think Mikhailenko is going to get a lot of predictions, but can he beat the fastest time so far from Lysenko a 325.792. Of course, balance of performance is on the cars. They should be as close as the game or the sim platform allows us to be. But 1 minute warning has now been issued from Hyogi, so they will hopefully be pushed to get themselves in or not bother right now. But we've got 9 racers ready to hit the track as soon as they possibly can. It's a French circuit. I don't know, Hyogi, if you can comment as to what went into the decision as to why this track was chosen for the race in qualifying.
Because it's a really hard track, not usual, very big, but for sure we can choose Nordschleife, Nürburgring, but it's so often, really. It's so often and really not interesting. You ride this track every month, so we try to find something like that, and the choice was done by Ivan. Yeah, I think it's a really great choice. So we start qualifying without some pilots who late, unfortunately.
Absolutely, I don't know if they can sit and be in reserve for any latecomers later in the session, or if those groups are fully fixed. But we'll be on track very shortly for you and ready, and the green light will be given. The sessions will begin. And this is such an annoying thing about GranTurismo. I love the platform. I love the game. I've been a fan of GranTurismo for years and years and years, but the fact that you have to reselect your visuals every single time and your decisions. Lionesi has picked up a 3-second outlap penalty. That's an interesting infraction already, but won't affect their fast attempt here.
Round 2, fight!
Fantastic. We've got all the cars then getting themselves ready, and we'll just hope now, Hyogi, if they were watching the end of the previous session, just really, it's about finding yourself a little bit of room on the racetrack to get into your own rhythm.
Sorry, Weber, can you repeat, please?
No problem. So I'm just saying, it's if we take a lesson from the previous session, then this is about this outlap period is about trying to find some room for yourself on the circuit. So you're not going to be catching someone. You're not going to have someone bothering you from behind as well. But that seems to be the best strategy here in this qualifying.
Yeah, I think the best tactic will be maybe 2-3 laps on first soft, then boxes, fresh soft, and go for a best time without a lot of fuel. But also I can notice that I also can't see here that all pilots go to their lap in the same time. A lot of traffic, and for sure in the qualifying it's really bad idea. I think will be more useful and better to wait, but we can see 2 pilots from South Africa. Maybe they have some tactic without slipstream or something. It's not prohibited, so we'll see.
Well, here is then VGT Peugeot of Branowin, and he has gone full Ukrainian. He's got a small South African flag on the side of the car, but he's not. He's definitely going all out with the Ukrainian symbols and representation, and looks like DRC Too Fast has certainly got a bit happy with his sticker selection as well. But he's gone for a nice front and back one, but found a lot of fancy stickers to put on there, some cartoons and everything. So we will be interested to hear from the chat as well today as to nominations for the best livery of the whole proceedings so far. It looks like we've got ice creams and donuts and all sorts on there. I'm getting hungry.
Yeah, it's a really interesting livery. It's too fast from driver's room. Also have some Ukrainian decals, really beautiful. Fantastic livery, really. It's hard to do something like that in GranTurismo.
It is, and I do like the fact that obviously the drivers can express themselves a little bit on the racetrack here, and you can see there the sun visor of Ronaldinho has gone half black, half Ukrainian. Looks like it's going to be Momot though, who is leading the pack on the start of these flying laps, and Lionesi is driving the Beetle behind. Not usually a very favoured car, the Beetle. It's a little bit draggy in a straight line, but its fuel efficiency and tyre wear are very, very advantageous. But you have to make it to the race, and I'm not sure. This is a Minardi retro livery back from the Minardi F1 team, so it's pretty smart. An interesting choice for a Volkswagen Beetle.
I think he did this choice not for qualification, because for sure it's not so fast car for one lap, but as I know, the economy for fuel really good, and on our race it will be useful, because we have settings that don't allow to you ride without boxes, because or you need to change tires if you use soft and hard is required, or you need to economy your fuel, because it's also not so big amount to finish the race on one tank. So maybe it's some tactical, or he's just very stable on this car, and we can see that pilot behind Ronaldinho a bit slower than Lionesi. Yeah.
Looks like he's
Volkswagen, that's Auto.
even enjoying the the Volkswagen a lot, but Ronaldinho is definitely a little bit blocking here Lionesi from the UK, but he's driving his own lap, and he's got every right to. This is really more on Lionesi's fault here for not creating a big enough gap during the outlap, but they're getting towards the end of their third sector here. Of course, what do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We think there's 6 or 7 sectors, but Momot is at the head of this field, so he will be definitely setting the benchmark, and you have that distinctive cockpit design of the Beetle, as well as he lets a couple of cars go now. He's decided that that lap is not going to be the decider for him, so better to find some room and go again, perhaps maybe do 2 fast laps this stint, 1 at the end, or 1 this stint and come in now and box, but ultimately I don't think you're going to get more than 3 flying laps throughout this 20-minute session.
Yeah, I think it was not a final lap for Lionesi, just test lap.
So it's Branowin from Mack at the moment with those first 2 fast laps. So Too Fast has also gone faster. The German driver up to P1 at the moment, and it looks like was that Momot about to cross the line, or was he actually going into the pits? Lionesi has decided to go into the pits now, find a little bit of room wherever possible, as we ride on board our fastest driver at the moment, a 3:27.9. So at this early stage, that time is not going to be good enough. That is a good 4 seconds off the target time here, to try and match the times from the first session. Too Fast from Branowin and Mack, Momot, Mikhailienko, Makarenko, and Vic Wheels heading for the pits without setting a time. Makarenko a 3:32.5. So early showings here, Georgi, a much slower session.
Yeah, but I think it's just like 8 minutes of the session, so it's just practice. It's not true result. We can see that Leonesi will just go to the boxes, and it's only first lap without outgoing lap from boxes. So I think it also will be all interesting near the end of the session. Fresh soft, and after one lap we can see true results of quali. We'll see. Moreover, I can see that first and second pilots have really small difference in time, so I think it's will be really close.
Interesting livery here from Vic Wheels as well, who has gone for a very bright blue, but without any form of yellow, unless you count that little Pirelli sticker on the rear corner. But he's in the AMG here, driving the BioCircle and Black Falcon sponsored AMG. Not seen either of those before, so I think this is a bit of a custom livery attempt here from Vic Wheels, as he is still on his second outlap. So clearly came into the pits, came out of the pits, ran an outlap, and back in again without setting a time, and has gone and is now back on his second outlap. As some of the leaders are approaching the final sector, we will see if any of them decide to come into the pits or progress on to their next lap and try and set a lap. Now, well, it's not looking bad here for Too Fast, who is going quicker in this session. A purple sector for him, and he's on target to try and get himself in the mix with those fastest drivers from the first session. Looks like he's gone for a bit of a warm-up lap situation here, and then a proper push lap on his second fast lap attempt out of the pits. Look at the clock, 10 minutes 32 have gone already, and despite that faster sector, he comes into the pits. So, and Branowin goes quicker by 35 hundredths of a second, still quite a way off the target, a 3:27.9 from Branowin, as the majority of at the top of the field right now pit, and that is Branowin, Too Fast, Mac, and Momot. I think Momot might be just coming out again after getting a new set of tyres on for this next attempt. And there we have almost a cherry blossom style livery here from Momot. He has got the Ukrainian flag on his rear quarter on the window, but sticking with his favoured livery, I think, as a basic. He's just found a nice couple of stickers and a rear wing flag to put on as well.
Yeah, we have Romelo Dano misconnection and lost their chance to have time in this group, unfortunately. And maybe he will able to join to group 4. Yeah, because he will be on time, not late, so why not? Some problems with internet can be.
Yeah, let's hope we can get everybody to at least get a good fast lap attempt in, as we're on another outlap here with Too Fast. So we'll see if any of our drivers are actually on a fast lap, and see if they're pushing. But Too Fast has got a little bit of a problem here of a car a little bit too close for comfort in front of him, because he's just on his outlap, so he can just stretch and just find that little bit of room. He doesn't really want to be following quite so close behind another driver, especially if they then make a mistake and end up blocking. So no real excuses. This is one of the longest tracks in the game, so you really should be able to find plenty of space on the track with only 8 drivers qualifying in this session. Over the bridge we go. First we had driving with Too Fast. Now we're on board with Mac. It's half a second off the fastest time here so far, but the fastest time only a 3:27.9. So we're waiting to see if anyone can get into that target 3:25, 3:26 to track qualifying. A lot of fans here supporting Mykolenko and Momot. So disappointed, I'm sure, if they don't make that target time. Mykolenko might be picking up a distant tow here, but from back of Momot's car. But we'll certainly need to find some pace, and time is ticking away.
I think it will be a box lap for Mykolenko. Maybe this Ferrari really like to eat tire, we can see.
Absolutely, yeah. Certainly the rear left is looking worse for wear. So we'll certainly be hoping that they can get a better one. This is the Supra then of Makarenko, and I'm pretty sure that those are stickers and paint effects. It's not damage on the barriers, so that's a deliberate choice on the livery there. It hasn't been wall riding around the circuit to too great an extent. 4.5 seconds off the fastest time at the moment, but I'm sure with nearly 3/4 of our session done, the drivers will be now starting to really push and try and maximize, because it's now you may get one more lap, but really the best opportunity is this first lap on these fresh tires for the majority of the field here. Branawin first right now, and Too Fast second, but some distance away from the target time. Leonesi goes into 5th position. Leonesi with a 3:29.2 moves up to 5th in the Beetle.
I think it's a really good time for this car. It's not so fast on the at all, not so fast, but really good in corners. So, as I say previously, it's a car for a race, not for quali, but some improvements on first sector. Yeah, so results can be changed.
Yes, definitely. So we've got that bank of drivers at the head of the field who are all together, running a similar strategy. They're very close to one another on track as well. Considering how much track that there is for the drivers to spread out, they really haven't gone for it. But of course, we want to maximise the amount of fast laps that they've got. Admin and Big Boss and lots of people in the chat saying that it's really heartwarming to those watching to see so many Ukrainian flags, so much blue and yellow around, and just honouring what will be the celebrations of the Independence Day next week, of course, and that's why we're all here. Well, that's a little bit inconvenient there from Mykolenko, just rejoining the track as Mack is going through a fast corner. Mykolenko obviously making a mistake in that white Ferrari, but no drama too much. I think possibly Mack might have been on a slower lap than he had been before, so I don't think too much damage to his time. Hopefully we won't need to get any stewards involved in this qualifying session when something like that occurs. This is Makarenko then on a flying lap. Let's see how his next sector time shows. It's about halfway over the bridge you get a sector update. Wheels just posted a faster personal best time to make it up to the 3:37 point. A long way to go yet before they can hope to make it into the race. And there's one of those moments on the exit of a corner prior to the bridge that really that barrier comes at you quite quickly, and if you don't get that corner right, you have messed up a significant portion of this lap then. So we're riding on board with Branawin, who has the fastest lap at the moment and will be picking up a little bit of a tow from the car in front, but just on an out lap at the moment. His fastest time at 3:27.9. Compare that though, that would have put him in 4th position in the previous session. So just to bear in mind that this session at the moment is not quite on a level with the top 3 in the previous one. But still, with the final lap or 2 laps to go for the majority of the drivers here, that is possibly going to change. Here comes Momot then towards the line to post his time, and it is a new fastest for him, 3:28. Next up, we have a much better lap then from Too Fast, who goes in at 3:27.1. That would have put him third in the previous session, so he might be able to hope for a qualification with that time. 0.8 of a second improvement, and because of this long track, Georgi, and this 20-minute session, the amount of fuel compared on the cars right now compared to the first flying lap is quite a bit less.
Yeah, really big difference. But unfortunately, we can see Ukrainian flag in first position. But we'll see what will be on the race, for sure.
Absolutely, we know. We're fairly sure that at least we will have Lysenko and Fletcher into the race representing Ukraine. But I'm sure that they would rather have a few more countrymen with them in the race come next week. Well, Linesi is currently 1 second away from the fastest time at the moment, driving this Minardi VW Beetle. I don't think Volkswagen or any of its group of companies provided the engine for Minardi at any point in the F1 history. So it's a very, very interesting choice of combination. I think just a Minardi fan who also likes driving his Beetle. It's Mack right now in 5th, and it's Mikhailenko in 6th position. Lowest time at the moment on board with Vic Wheels in the Mercedes AMG. Not really shown competitively just yet. Might be keeping his powder dry. But we shall see come the end of the session. It's just 8 seconds to go before the final lap will be declared for everybody. So it will be the final lap for everyone now. Everybody is more than 8 seconds away from that checkered flag position as we ride again with Too Fast. And we'll see as they come across the sector time shortly where this particular time is leaving them. Oh, that is off the pace then for Too Fast, so won't be improving this one. What will Mikhailenko and Makarenko be able to do? Well, DLC Too Fast is doing drift practice right now, so has clearly decided to forget any hopes of bettering his time. Branowin is at the head of the field with just a couple of sectors to go before they will be able to post their final time here. His final lap then, just managing 6 laps, and that includes in and out laps, so it's not been particularly prosperous for him, but a just overall sector 6 I think that is, and on target here potentially for finishing at the front. He tries to take his line going through the corner, but that is Momot coming through and trying to be as decisive as possible. I think Branowin has possibly had that lap ruined. Momot was going faster. Where will Momot go from 4th? Will Momot be able to qualify better? He did improve to a 3:28.2. Branowin still 0.8 of a second away. Mack beats Branowin up into 2nd position, and Mack gets a 3:27.8. And that would have qualified him in 4th place in the previous session. So sits himself in 4th overall, I believe. Sorry, about 7th or 8th at the moment overall. You ride with one of the few Ukrainians in this particular group about to finish off. This is Makarenko then from 7th position from a 31.9.
Unfortunately, no.
And just away from their fastest time. So the last one to cross the line will be Vic Wheels. Eventually. He's taking a long cut at the moment and going a little bit of grass cutting. I think we can probably safely say, Hyogi, that is the session over.
Yeah, we ended with Group 2. Thanks to pilots. Group 3 can join if you watch, and I will text in the Discord about that. One second.
So, Too Fast with the fastest time there, but it wasn't too fast for the overall qualification. So 3:27.1 puts him currently into overall 3rd position. Mack is next on a 3:27.8, and I think that puts him in 5th or 6th position overall. Branawin, a 3:27.9, might hold on to a hope here of keeping qualification for next week's race, but I'm not entirely confident. Lionessi for the UK in the Beetle, a 3:28.2 from Momot, Mikyanko and Makarenko, 5th, 6th and 7th. 3:28.2, 3:28, 3:29.6 and a 3:31.9 respectively. Vic Wheels was the slowest one on a 3:37.4. Didn't in the end get a great lap in, but it was certainly hard fought through that session. And Ronaldinho, who only showed up for a few seconds and got a disconnection. We hope that Ronaldinho will be able to take part in one of the sessions still to come. So that'll be coming up for you as a new lobby is being built, and everyone is now being invited back in. So we have our times. So the way I see it at the moment, it looks like Lysenko with the fastest time, that 3:25.7. Fletcher the second fastest time on a 3:25.8. And then I think we go over to Too Fast for Germany. Then back to Group 1, Borowski in 4th place on a 3:27.692. And then we go out to the second group, Mack and Branawin in net 4th and 5th positions at the moment. But it will still all be to play for because we still have those 2 sessions. We're only halfway through tonight's coverage of this grand qualifying session here to try and bring everybody in. And I can see perhaps Irina is ready to give her thoughts on what we saw through Group 2 and preview Group 3.
Thank you, Webbo. Далі ми переходимо на українську. Отже, ми спостерігали за другою відбірковою групою. Тут було більше іноземних пілотів, і цього разу вже не українець отримав першу позицію, але в загальному заліку першої та другої групи перше місце залишається за українцем Антоном Лисенко. А зараз в нас є декілька хвилин. Ми чекаємо, щоб в лобі зайшла група 3, яка має складатися з представників Данії, України, Южної Африки, Великобританії, Марокко, Україна, Южна Африка, Україна, Германія, Ісландія, Україна, Ісландія. Отже, як ви бачите, в нас дуже потужне лобі представників саме ЮАР. Дуже багато в нас пілотів у процентному співвідношенні із Ісландії і взагалі з Північної Європи. До речі, я хочу подякувати нашим коментарям Вебо та Георгію Почуашвілі і нашому продюсеру, хто нам забезпечує стрім, Івану Кічуку, за те, що вони зараз з нами, за те, що в нас класна трансляція. Шановні глядачі, я вам дуже вдячна за вашу активність в чаті. Підтримуйте своїх пілотів вподобайками, підтримуйте своїх пілотів там сердечками, хлопушками. Їх це дуже мотивує. А ми зараз будемо спостерігати за третьою групою. В нас є маленька перерва. А я вам хочу доповісти, що з сьогоднішніх 4 груп буде відсіяна пропорційна, якщо взяти одна група, це будуть пілоти, які покажуть найгірший час. Отже, 24.08, коли вже буде відбуватися власне змагання, ми будемо дивитись 3 окремі гонки. Спершу це буде лобі група 3, потім лобі група 2 і наостанок, на закуску, так би мовити, ви будете спостерігати за найшвидшою групою 1. Отже, всіх вас запрошую 24.08, це буде, власне, День Незалежності, на перегони нас тут же на YouTube-каналі Digital Autosport of Ukraine о 20-й годині. А 25-го у нас буде інша гонка на іншому симуляторі, це буде iRacing, і перегони теж розпочнуться о 20-й годині, але кваліфікація там буде прямо попереду гонки, буде вона тривати лише 15 хвилин. Гонка буде проходити, сьогодні ми бачимо групу 3. Тут дуже різноманітні автомобілі, починаючи від Mazda і закінчуючи BMW. Ви можете бачити їх на своїх екранах. Отже, це і Mazda, і GTR, 911 Porsche, Subaru BRZ, і Nissan, і Peugeot, і BMW, Ferrari, Мерседеси 16-20 років випуску, Renault, Корвети. Дуже така різнокольорова група автомобілів, а в iRacing все буде діаметрально протилежно. Це будуть радикали SR8 на фіксованих налаштуваннях, отже, все буде залежати власне від майстерності пілотів і від того, як вони розрахують час та паливо, чи будуть вони заходити в підстоп, чи не будуть. Тобто інтрига буде вся будуватися власне на майстерності пілотів. А я передаю слово нашим коментаторам. В нас ще поки що заходять пілоти в групу 3, і нехай наші англомовні коментатори поки що трошки відпочинуть, тому що в них ще попереду така ж велика доля, купа роботи, як було щойно. А я вам розповім поки що, хто на якій буде автівки виступати в групі 3. Отже, представник Данії Юрій Ратас обрав собі Volkswagen Beetle групи 3. Павло Літвяк з України поїде на Toyota Supra. Представник Puma The Joker із ЮАР обрав собі Peugeot VTG. Пілот з Великобританії Вік Вілс їде на Мерседесі AMG 16-го року групи GT3. Марокканець GMTA Реда обрав собі Toyota Supra. Українець Руслан Черналуцький буде виступати на Genesis X. Українець Андрій Крючко на Nissan GT-R. Із ЮАР пілот Штейн обрав собі Aston Martin. До речі, це єдиний Aston Martin з усіх 4 груп. На Porsche 911 поїде українець Дмитрій Хартлі. З Німеччини пілот Джеред обрав собі Макларен, теж єдиний Макларен. Пілот з Ісландії Девід Адамс обрав собі Genesis. Українець Владислав Будюк поїде на Nissan GT-R. До речі, на цих автомобілях ми проводили 15-го числа, тобто 3 дні тому, гонку присвячену, не присвячену, ми розігрували і просто дарували квитки в кіно на кіно GranTurismo. До речі, роздали промокоди. Будь ласка, ідіть в кіно, дивіться, діліться враженнями. І заключний пілот з групи 3 – це із Ісландії пілот TRB Інджі. Він обрав собі McLaren 650. Отже, в нас залишається декілька секунд до початку виступів 3-ї групи. Так що можете поки що там взяти собі прохолодні напої, бо ми зараз із Києва ведемо трансляцію, зокрема я. У нас дуже спекотний цей тиждень, і на термометрах ми бачили і плюс 38, і плюс 40 градусів. Отже, дуже така спекотна погода, вже все так нагрілося. Дуже важко в місті дихати. Я думаю, що десь на природі воно трошки краще. Отже, будемо
Спасайтесь мороженком.
Спостерігати за трансляцією. Заходить група 3.
Що? Спасайтеся морозивом.
Okay, well, I think we will be underway very shortly for Group 3. And we have a number of drivers lined up for this one, but I'm just going to learn my lesson from the previous session and try and make sure that, that I only go through the drivers who are actually going to show up. Well, here we have then your field. Looks like Brannawan is still here, and he probably needs to exit because he's had his opportunity to qualify so far. So it looks like we might need to just communicate there. We've got Chunalutski for the Ukraine at the top of the order, and he is in the Genesis X GR3. Next up, Ingi for Iceland has just connected, and Ingi is driving the McLaren 650S. Fluffy Butt, who we saw for a moment in the previous session, is back, the South African driver in the V12 Vantage GT3. Then we have Roman Kevich in the 911 RSR from 2017, is in the fourth position at the moment. Then we've got Litviak, another Ukrainian driver, driving Supra, but the concept Supra from 2018. And then the DRC Gary is in the 650 SGT3 from 2015. As I mentioned, Branowin will hopefully not be taking part in this one, but we do have from Puma Racing GTR in the Peugeot VGT. Should really be driving a Nissan with a name like GTR. Then we've got David Adams for Iceland, and he's in Genesis X as well, followed by Biduk, who is in the GTR Nismo GT3. Very quick car there. So that's your provisional field here for this session. So let me know if you've got a particular favorite among these ones in the chat. It looks like Gary is getting a little bit of love. And do make sure that you take note of the description of today's video and the QR code at the bottom right of your screen. We are asking for donations to support the sim racing community in Ukraine. So if you're watching this and thinking, you know, I wish I could do something else to show my support for this community, well, that is something that you can do. So please do give if you've got anything spare that would be very well received and go towards a cause we can probably all get behind, which is more people sim racing and getting more competitive as well. This is Litviak then in the first one out of the pits, and this is a very, very interesting livery. I'm looking at it and thinking, I don't know why, but I'm thinking of old 8-bit computer games, or even older than that. But this is a very interesting one. Either that or the kind of socks you have to wear when you go golfing. That's what I'm thinking at the moment. But anyway, he is first out on track, and then we get a good look then at Gary's car here for Germany. And he has added some yellow and some blue into this livery in honor, of course, of our cause today. And as Sayati says in the chat, kick Branowin, he was in the second group. Exactly. Well, we'll see. There may be a good reason why he's here, but I'm wondering myself a little bit at the moment. But anyway, Livia, Gary, and there is Branowin's car at the moment. And we've got some Icelandic drivers as well. I wonder if they got wind of this in the same way that I did, which was through my domestic motorsport official grouping, Motorsport UK, who notified all of its members that this race was happening, and I thought, well, that sounds very interesting and a very great cause. So why not get involved myself? So that is presumably what's happened is a call has gone out to all the motorsport unions around the world. That's why we have such a host of international drivers hoping to qualify. But remember, it's only the top 15 cars over the course of tonight's stream, 4 sessions, that will actually end up qualifying. Target time is still a 3:25.7 or a 3:26. Will get you likely qualified. This is not good news already, Georgi, for Fluffy Butt, who's picked up a half-second penalty in the Aston Martin.
Yeah, it's a real effect to him record, but it's only just first lap, so nothing urgent. Personally, my bet to the Gary, it's just because I know only him and Ukrainian drivers. And also Brian Wynn, I hope correct, have one more session, because as we see on the end of second session, their best lap was with collision with Artem Momot, and the pilot asked about to have one more extra session, and I think why not. So maybe if Artem also wants it, he will have a part on Group 4. For sure.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, of course.
For sure, this cases like that, when pilots can rejoin, have extra session, or something like that, or can have a separate qualification because they're late. It's only for our first race. It's like first place for us in international format, so we have some top rules, but in future they will not be able, so just rules for everyone, and that's all. Yeah.
Understood. Okay, so an extra chance given because Branowin suffered that wipeout from his rifle there. I'm sure it was accidental. There we have some very interesting liveries going on. So this is a kind of a deep blue mirror finish, glossy wrap on Chernolotsky's car, and of course he's got all the correct logos on as well. I did see the Beauty and the Beast black livery on the Genesis of David Adams' car as well, and that was pretty smart. Although it looks like it's disappearing on the circuit, so it's not exactly super easy to see in the mirrors. So he's going to be a bit like a stealth bomber coming at everybody in that car. The Genesis does make for some very interesting livery applications, you have to say. It's a very distinctive looking car. So here is GTR driving, and then we flick over to the Aston Martin Fluffy, but just in time to catch him grass cutting. He won't be very grateful about that one. I see AG27 is saying that being in the last group and watching all of the drivers is making him feel a little bit nervous, perhaps. But I'm sure that you'll get settled once you're into the proceedings. So it's Gary then who goes fastest at 27.6 at the moment, but that would only put him around 6th or 7th position overall, with still one more session after this still to go. Branowin is in 2nd position, and he has a flag reading "I stand with Ukraine" on his bonnet, and of course it's a sentiment that we all echo that are taking part tonight in one respect or another. I'm sure everyone in the chat is here feeling very similarly. Our new record times coming in from everybody just to finish out their first laps, and so we can see that these standings at the moment: Gary, Branowin, David Adams, GTR and Chernolotsky in that order at the moment. Chernolotsky's at 3:31.2. Will have to get a lot quicker than that before he can hope to qualify for the race next week. Litviak is in 6th position, 6.4 seconds away. Despite coming out of the pits first, he has not been able to put in a fabulous time here, but looks to be not wearing his tyres away too much, and it's decision time really. I guess they will have the opportunity now, Georgi, to maybe push the first part of this lap, and if they feel like it's looking good and they've got some room and they're feeling good, then they might go and decide to finish this current lap. But most of the drivers we've seen so far have come in after just one fire.
Yeah, sorry guys, I just texted with pilots also, and I can see that Gary already have so fast lap from first try. Maybe my bet will win, but I see that 9 minutes come, and it's almost middle of the session. Also very beautiful livery of Gary. Yeah, on the same level with the Too Fast from Germany. We'll see. It's McLaren, as I see, and it's really stable and I don't know, really easy to drive car. Have a lot of possibilities to pass corners on high speed. Oh, a lot of grass.
Absolutely. If this one, no, he's 4.5 tenths off his best time so far. So I think Gary will almost certainly box this time and give himself the opportunity perhaps to try and do 2 flyers in the next stint if he can. But he'll have to elect to come into the pits, I think, shortly. We'll see if Branawin, Adams or GTR are on faster laps this time, or they also head into the pits. And a very late decision from Gary to come in. He was making me think twice there as Branawin goes to cross the line. Does he improve? He does improve, but it's not quite enough. 0.3 of a second he found on that second lap, but still quite a lot of fuel on the car. So that is one factor that just brings those times in right at the end of the session. And I think as Hartmann has answered already, the fastest time we've seen so far was a 3:25.792 by Lysenko in the first session tonight. And Chernolutsky is on his way to the pits. Looks like the majority of the drivers have made that decision. Gary has already been in and has come back out again. And we'll see what Livjak does as well. Roman Kyiv in P8 down there in that very interesting livery. I couldn't make out whether that was the sun reflecting off the car or the livery that he'd chosen. It's a very interesting one on Roman Kyiv's car. But this is Fluffy Butt we're riding with here at the moment. And he's got a fully opaqued out rear window, so he's not hoping to see anybody behind him in the Aston Martin, going full on in the very, very bright and interesting livery here for, of course, this Ukraine mission today, which is to support Ukrainian motorsport and digital autosport, of course, predominantly. There is an iRacing race going on, but from a personal perspective, I think you're far better off watching GT7 with us. Ingi is in 9th position. No doubt about his racing number of 76 either. That's always good for a commentary perspective to see large race numbers on the cars. That's a very good, interesting livery there. GTS Iceland on the car for him, but he's a long way off the pace at the moment. And hopefully be able to improve a little bit. New tyres on, and hoping not to take too much out of them on this outlap. And there's the hashtag on the back as well. You can share Stand with Ukraine or Race for Ukraine, as admin just lets us know there in the chat. So it is a personal best sector there for Roman Kyiv in 8th position. It's a little bit close to Livjak for his comfort there, and Livjak has a big spin in front of him, and Roman Kyiv nicely avoided. And Livjak just stepping over the limit slightly there, Georgi.
Yeah, it was a mistake, but not critical. Have some time to have one quick lap. But looks like without a pit stop, because there are no time for boxes and change tire, unfortunately for Litvak. Chernolutsky have outlap for now, and I think he just save tire for next lap.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and we see that our Ukrainian pilots not in the first 3 places, but I know that in group 4 we also will have our monsters secret weapon. So wait, and
Fantastic.
we'll see that.
Stay tuned for that. We've got Cartman Revizor and we've got Bolek GT coming, or at least scheduled to appear in that final session from the Ukraine. But got this session to get through and make sure that the drivers can manage their best laps here. Gary leads the field, and he is on a 3:27.6, 2 seconds away from the very fastest time we've seen so far tonight, which was one of the earliest laps we saw as well. Here is Fluffy Butt in 10th position to cross the line. That was a 3:30.623. He goes 5th with a big jump up and a nice personal best, and that's a good confidence builder, Georgi, and he'll now be able to start building on that.
Yeah, sorry. I again don't watch the race because a lot of questions from pilots from Group 4, because we delay it as usual with each races can't be on time. So yeah,
it's a difficult thing to manage the visual stream and the chat as well in the Discord. I think we need to get you some assistance for the chat if possible. But obviously, being a level best, Gary is at the head of the field. Branowin still second from David Adams, GTR, and now Fluffy Butt. This is GTR in the South African racer in the Ukrainian colours in the Peugeot VGT. This is a very low slung car. And I see Magnus Arnason is here in the chat, just cheering on David Adams as well. So we have got a little bit of Icelandic representation in the chat as well as on track.
Just out lap for this pilot, yeah. So hope on the last lap for this guy will clear without incident and something like that, because yeah, really narrows, a lot of narrows, and can do a mistake releasing. And I think Gary have a quick lap now. Should be.
We'll wait and see where Gary is at the moment. So he's just coming onto the South Straight at the moment. We'll see. We'll get an update on his sector time in just a couple of seconds as he crests over this section on the straight. And he's a lot slower, so 2.3 seconds away from his fastest. So not improvement this time, but should be able to get around here gently on these tyres to have a shot at a final lap with just 2.5 minutes before the checkered flag comes out, and of course the drivers will finish the lap they are on after that point. So I think he'll have enough time to get himself through and started on the next one. It's a 3.5 minute lap at full racing speed here for the drivers. And wait to see. This is Branowin then. Of course, he will easily start that next lap. Staying to the right hand side now to cross over the line. That was a 3:30.1. So
I think it will be him fastest lap. It's like was preparing, and Gary also will have maybe last fastest lap. So we will know who wins this session at the end, I hope.
He starts his final lap now, does Gary, with 1.5 minutes left to go on the clock. The majority of the field here will get through to finish this current lap at the moment, so it will go through to six laps in total for each of the drivers, but you have to deduct 3 of that for the initial out lap, 1 in lap, and further.
I see that Chernolutski have 29 on practice. I say no, he can't do this time. Only it's his personal record. He also in VR, by the way. So yeah, it's a bit harder.
I have to say, as someone who invested money in the original PSVR and just waited for games to come out, and they never really did very well, I was very disappointed that GT7 didn't support the original PSVR, and I'm not yet reinvesting in a VR2 because I've been had my fingers bitten quite unpleasantly on that one. So hopefully we will actually get a lot more VR races happening, because it's fantastic when it works, but it's just so expensive to invest in at this stage, with just a few games that actually support it and are worth the investment. But if you're going to take your GranTurismo seriously, I think it is a very interesting piece of kit to get with. And of course, if you can avoid the nausea effects that some people suffer for motion sickness. Here is Gary then, just trying to find that little bit of space on the track. Let's stay with him if we can as he goes over the crest of the bridge, and he gets a fastest sector at the moment. That's a purple sector for Gary. So it looks like he's starting to stretch his advantage. He managed to pass there Romankiewicz on that lap as well. So on that sector. So he's clearly got a fair bit of speed in the car at the moment, and maybe he will be able to start mixing it in with the fastest times we've seen in the first two sessions. About to cross over his next, and he's extended that lead. He's still 0.4 of a second faster than he's gone before. So getting close to that target low minute 327s, mid 326s that should get Gary into his next qualified for the race. I'm not sure Branowin's going to do it though.
As I see it,
one wheel on the grass.
Yeah, it won't be faster than on third lap, but he'll have a change. Let's see. Really wide exit.
But yeah, Branowin struggling on the exit. That's not useful for him as he crosses the line. Then a personal best time, but only a 328.1 is what he's managed so far. Ingi is in third position now, with Fluffy Butt in fourth, Chernolutski in fifth, and David Adams, who I was expecting a little bit more from, thinking that perhaps he would hold on to the position he had earlier. Where is Gary though? That's the important one for us to focus on and see if he can get a faster time. I think he's not far away from the finish line. Gary did go faster. He's now on a 326.6, Gary. So he has almost certainly managed to qualify for the race, getting into the 326s as Chernolutski comes across the line next, and that was a slower lap, unfortunately. We'll see just a couple of drivers left to cross the line. This is the all-black livery of David Adams as he crosses the line coming up now, and it's a personal best. He's jumped up to P3 on a 328.9. That's on the outside edge of possible qualification for the race, with one car left to finish his flying lap so far. It is, who is it? Litviak, who I haven't seen a sector time for all laps so far. So we'll see. This will be a surprise to everybody as to how quick this car is going, because we haven't seen any sectors. Hooks the pit wall. I don't think he's thinking this is a good one. He knows we're watching him maybe as well, as he then weaves across the line. And that is session 3 over, with Gary and Branowin at the head of it. Again, we'll grab the results and see how they compare to the earlier sessions very shortly. So in session 3, we have Gary on a 326.6, and that is the third fastest time we have seen so far tonight in total. So almost certainly Gary has managed to qualify. Branowin is on the edge though. A 328.1 puts him somewhere around 5th or 6th position just yet, and we'll confirm, of course, as far as we're able to. We'll confirm at the end of the session today who we expect to be in the final standings. David Adams got a 328.9 and Fluffy Butt a 329.2 from then GTR, who for the Puma Racing team, who got a 329.511. Ingi for Iceland, a 329.772. Chernolutski and Litviak at the bottom of the top 8 on a 329.9 and a 334.1 respectively, but we saw Litviak have at least one big spin and hit the barriers as well. So those are your top 8, with Romankiewicz and Budiuk in 9th and 10th position. Some slow laps from those drivers, a little bit frustrated, I'm sure, that they weren't able to maximize their chances for qualification, but I'm sure had a good time trying to get there nonetheless. So Gary and Branowin likely to have qualified. David Adams, it's a little bit of a tricky one. And then remember, session 4 coming up soon, and I'm sure that Yogi is busy texting them as we speak, but he will stop the session and restart it, and we'll go back to our holding screen, where you will see, of course, the link to donate to our cause here today, the sim racing, to support sim racing in the Ukraine, to support the Ukraine in general, of course. And I see Irina is back to talk us through in between those two sessions.
Thank you, Weber. Thank you. Нашим глядачам хочу повідомити, що в нас закінчилась третя кваліфікація. Зараз ми будемо групу 4 заводити в лобі, це займе десь приблизно 5 хвилин. А поки що я вам хочу розказати, що в нас для українського пілота, який на змаганнях 24.08 покаже найшвидший час і займе найвищу позицію, вірніше займе найвищу позицію, тому що це будуть перегони, а не просто це буде тайм-атак. Отже, пілот під українським прапором, який займе в перегонах найвищу позицію серед українців, буде мати маленький такий приємний подарунок. Це сертифікат в магазин одного з наших партнерів на суму 500 гривень. Він його може витратити в інтернет-магазині. Це магазин в стилі кіберспорту наших партнерів Фрагстор. А я поки що хочу вас також запросити на реєстрацію на змагання, які відбудуться 25.08, власне, наступного дня після перегонів GranTurismo. Це будуть змагання з айрейсингу, а ті пілоти, які ще, можливо, себе ще не спробували в такому симуляторі, як iRacing, приходьте до нас в Discord, будь ласка. Посилання є тут під відео. Заходьте, і в нас є ще декілька вільних промокодів на підписку на iRacing терміном на 1 рік. Власне, ця підписка коштує $110. Для вас вона буде абсолютно безкоштовною. І ще в додачу ми вам подаруємо назавжди автомобіль Формули 4. Він буде для вас безкоштовним і залишиться з вами не на 1 рік, а на все ваше довге сімрейсингове життя в симуляторі iRacing. Отже, для того, щоб отримати цей промокод, підпишіться, будь ласка, на всі ресурси КЦА ФАО в Discord, звісно. Це наш основний канал комунікації, також Facebook, Instagram, Telegram та YouTube канал. Приходьте до нас, напишіть мені в особисті. Якщо ви виконали всі ці умови, я надам вам з задоволенням, надам вам промокод. Але для того, щоб кататись в айрейсингу, пілот має мати кермо та педалі, тому що це, власне, симулятор, там не можна кататись на приставці або на клавіатурі, це для цього не годиться такий симулятор. Отже, 25.08 реєстрацію ми закроємо 23.08 о 12 за Києвом. У нас ще залишилось декілька є вільних місць, і буде така ж дуже цікава сімрейсингова тусовка з усього світу. Будуть представники як офіційних федерацій, так і власне пілоти, які виступають не під прапором федерації, а просто представляють свою країну. Отже, долучайтеся, не забувайте вмикатися о 20-й годині 24.08 та 25.08. А я поки що вам представлю вам групу пілотів, яка зараз вийде на старт. Це вже буде заключна група. Отже, країни, які ми маємо: Ісландія, ЮАР, Марокко, Україна, Ісландія, Україна, Нігерія, Іспанія, Норвегія, Ісландія, Нігерія, Германія, Ісландія, ЮАР та Україна. Отже, будуть змагатися у нас тут головним чином дуже теплі країни з дуже-дуже холодними країнами, і десь кліматично поміж ними Україна та Германія. Ну і ще дуже дуже спекотна Нігерія, та не така...
Буде жарко, так.
Да, та не така, це Іван долучається, да не така спекотна Іспанія, да? Яка там Іспанія
так.
зараз? 40 градусів
Зараз
є?
пекло. Зараз
Зараз
пекло
пекло.
38 градусів.
Угу.
Якщо бути точним.
Прохолодою, да, це не назвеш, тому що Іван, власне, ми його туди до Іспанії з термометром відправили, щоб він там нам температуру точно підказував.
За моря.
Да, за моря, да. Не довіряємо прогнозам погоди, рішили свого розвідчика туди відправити. Отже, в нас залишається зараз поки що декілька хвилин. В ці пару хвилин наш коментатор веба, якому ми дуже дякуємо, трошки відпочине. На Георгій сьогодні потрійне навантаження на нього сьогодні. Він і коментатор, і відповідає в чаті на питання, і заводить пілотів в групи. Отже, так, в чотирьох на нерівних умовах, я так скажу, да? Так як відпочиваюча особа трошки. Ну, я тут поки що в чаті переписуюсь якраз зі своїм колегою з Федерації Іспанії. Він мені задає питання щодо айрейсингу і буде як публікувати офіційну об'яву у себе в Федерації. Отже, вважаю, що в нас буде доволі потужна іспанська така група пілотів. Головне, щоб всім вистачило місця в айрейсингу, тому що там лише їх 50, ну якщо...
50, так.
Да. Ну, буває, що і 47, тому що іноді піти не можуть прийняти, наприклад, там всіх пілотів одночасно. Да, наприклад, можуть зайти
так,
тільки...
Так, є таке.
Да. В нас ще там, Іван, не починається ще?
Готуються ще хлопці.
Готується все. Отже, тоді я передаю слово нашим коментаторам і дивимось четверту групу.
Окей, let's go.
Thank you, Irina. We just waiting for some pilots who try to reconnect. Some pilots have issues with connection and something else. So 1-2 minutes to go.
Absolutely. Well, yeah. Thank you for that little break for our voices from Irina. And with one more session to go then, so it's all down to this for the drivers. We have Sniper for the Puma team for South Africa, driving the Peugeot VGT. Then we have Kruchko, one of the few Ukrainian drivers left to attempt a qualification in the GTR Nismo. Then Ronaldinho, we saw him earlier. He disconnected. He's back in the Peugeot VGT. Next up, Sindri from Iceland in the 911 RSR. And then Zadlon in the M6 GT3, the first time we've seen a BMW tonight as well. And Bolikbrook has gone for the same car as well in the sprint model from 2016. Volynkin has gone for the McLaren 650S GT3, which is a very stable platform. Then AG27, who was watching the stream earlier and feeling the nerves a little bit for the Distinct team, who usually are a very, very strong esports team, Distinct, and also have some very beautiful cars as well. I wonder if they've customized that livery at all for tonight's racing. Then finally, so far brought into the session at least, is Dimi for Iceland in the GTR Nismo. So remember that our qualification, our target time originally was set in the first session by the Ukrainian driver Lysenko, and Fletcher very close as well on a 3:25.7. But ideally, you want to be getting underneath a 3:27 mark to try and get yourself your qualification, if at all possible. Riv1 has also joined, I can see there, from the United States, driving the Porsche 911 RSR from 2017. Looks like our current standings then will be Lysenko and Fletcher. Then you go down to Group 3. For Gary on a 3:26, the only driver who's actually managed to get a 3:26 so far. Gary, we just saw him for the DRC team, and then we go back towards Group 3 for Borovsky, in 4th position at the moment. Then we see a couple of drivers from South Africa from the second session, Mac and Branowin, who are currently in that qualification window. Session beginning, and we're underway. So let's time to get trackside as we follow our drivers. We get used to these new liveries as well, and it's time to get your predictions in. And Riv corrects me here, says he's from Mob Kilishi says Riv is from Nigeria. So Riv actually seemed to have a United States flag, but that might just be where his gamer tag is currently registered or is showing. But looks like we just need to correct that in our minds that Riv is representing Nigeria today, and I can see that absolutely on my list. That is B Rivals' usual name here. As we got Kruchko then, blue wheels, yellow body, very simplistic but very effective livery choice here from Kruchko. And who then, Georgi, who is your dark horse? Who's your favorite here from the Ukraine to get the top time?
Oh, this question. My favorites. I can't choose one for sure. Really can't. I really good to know Kushko and Valinkin. Not good with Geldun and Balibru. We not raced together so far, but Kruchko and Valinkin really fast, and it is this secret weapon about I said before, so it should be interesting, and I guess it can be a new absolute record for all groups. So we'll see. I also know that AG27 from Spain also really fast driver, so it will be really interesting group session, because I'm also don't know about other pilots anything, and maybe they also really fast, and we can know it in this session.
Definitely. Here is one of those distinct liveries then. Let's have a look around the car, because I wonder if they've put any stickers on for tonight's racing. I don't think so, keeping it fairly subtle at the moment, but we'll encourage them to put something on the car, especially for the race if they manage to qualify. But at the moment it's Kruchko and Valinkin, who you heard from, Georgi, who is representing something of the favourites. They've actually got a nice chrome stripe on that McLaren as well, very 2023 F1 team appropriate. And then another all-out fantastic livery here from the sniper driver for Puma team. Obviously the Peugeot VGT is a very popular platform for the South Africans, who have almost all chosen this particular car to go, regardless of whatever team they go for. A look at Dimi's car then. He's also gone for an all yellow body. I think that might have been a last minute decision to try and represent as best as possible here from Iceland for us. We'll ask him to put some stickers on it, I think, if he qualifies. Ronaldinho we saw earlier, another one of the Peugeot VGTs then. Nice close-up views then, and we saw that nice split windscreen sunstripe. One of the M6s that we haven't seen before this session, but an all black livery, some nice sponsors, some correct representation on the car as well, but a very dark colour scheme here from Bolicbrook. Let's have a look at Riv as well, who's racing from Nigeria for us. I know it says the United States, but there's some good African colours on that car as well, in a nice green. But the roof is representing as well. It's gone for #peace, which I think we can all get behind. Lastly, on the grid at the moment is Sindri from Iceland, and it's got #stand with Ukraine on the car as well, which is brilliant. Big Boss says Team Nigeria liveries are fire. And here is a very good Icelandic representation here, and there's a small Ukrainian flag on the front right of the area, just above the splitter. You can see, although it just looks like a yellow rectangle because the blue is so similar to what he's gone for the body work as well. But no doubt as to which country this driver is from, if you were ever in doubt, for Sindri there, representing his nationality, of course. And GTSI is on the back of the car. I'm assuming that's something to do with racing in Iceland. So Kruchko, his first flyer, sets a 150.3, and we heard from Georgi earlier. He reckons the new fastest lap from all 4 sessions will be set in this very session now. So we're watching with bated breath to see. I don't know if it was a deliberate decision, Georgi, to hold off and save the best till last.
I hope. I think not now for sure. But as we know, last lap will have new records, so we'll see. But I also say that AG27 have a A+ rating of driver, so maybe I hope for sure the best first record will be with Ukrainian driver, but not sure.
It currently is, of course. It currently is. So Lysenko and Fletcher have the 2 fastest times at the moment from the Ukraine. So they'll be certainly hoping that they can hold on to those spots. They can be almost certain that they've got their qualifications sorted and secured. As we close out the final sector then for the cars at the front of the field, Kruchko, Volinkin and Zadlun. So we have a little look then at Bollockbrook as well. And just scrolling through the field, as coming out of the final corner is Kruchko right now. And he goes to cross the line, and it is a 3-minute 29.9, just under the 3-minute 30 mark. Volinkin goes faster though. Volinkin a 3:27.8. That's a nice first lap to put in and put a banker down. AG27 slips between the 2 Ukrainians at the moment for Spain and the distinct team. AG27 manages a 3:28.522 as Kruchko stays 3rd just at the moment. I think Dimi has crossed the line and set a time, yes, a 3:31.0, and they're almost lapping in the order that they came out of the pits in, which is very convenient for us. I wonder how Ronaldinho is doing at the moment. Has he managed to set a time? He has. It's a 3:33.2, so nowhere near qualification just yet, but plenty of time still to go. We've had 8 minutes of the total 20. So usually what we're seeing at the moment, Georgi, is the cars pitting after this one flight lap.
Yeah, we have unusual early box for our Ukrainian pilot, Zadlun. So let's see, maybe it's some secret tactic or something like that. Yeah, I don't know. I never meet this pilot, so it's also like black horse for me.
Absolutely. Well, Zadlun has gone for that. I didn't like his initial lap. He's trying to burn off the fuel. Still got about 3/4 of a tank of fuel on the car. So he may be trying to run another 2 flying laps with fresh tyres. That will be a bit of a challenge to try and get that through. But of course, the drivers will be well aware of their target laps and try and do as well as possible. So we were expecting to see a driver from Morocco, but unfortunately it looks like they haven't been able to attend for whatever reason. So Mob Kalishi says there's no Nigerian flag in GT7. That is scandalous. Why on earth is there no Nigerian flag in GT7? That is unfair and shouldn't be allowed. Can't be that difficult to put all the countries of the world's flags in a game, surely. But
yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, that is not great. But he's gone.
We also have a not big but issue that GT7 doesn't have a Ukrainian language. It's not a big deal. We use English, but yeah, a bit sad. And about Morocco drivers, they say that they have also race today, also in GT7, and also very important for them. And they ask to have a separate qualification, and some pilots who also have connection problems or something like that can join. Just text me DM. I also tell about that in Discord, so I hope. And yeah, it's also for our first international race for sure. Next races will be not so friendly, and we will use rules for everyone. So yeah, just like a test race for us. And I can say that it's really cool, and I enjoy it. And a lot of Ukrainian pilots, and not only Ukrainian, tell me about how you, Gorgeous Weber, your commentary really cool, and we really enjoy it. So thank you.
It's very kind of you. It's my honor. It's my honor to contribute. Absolutely. And De Gerard in the chat says AG is lagging a lot. He is on our screens, and that might just be a server connection thing. Now, it's not a big deal for him in qualifying. From his perspective, he'll be just fine. So he won't be seeing that lag at all. And as long as there's decent enough gaps between the drivers for qualifying, that's not a problem. In the race, however, that is definitely going to have to be something that we give plenty of warning to the drivers to make sure that there's plenty of room between each other when racing hard in line. We've all seen nightmare scenarios on YouTube of lag affecting drivers' races. Unfortunately, it's just one of those things we have to live with a game on its I was going to be kind and say on its early part of its release cycle, but it's not really anymore, is it? It's been here. We've been playing this game for some time, so it's about time those excuses dried up, really, for Polyphony Digital, and they managed to get us the kind of server support we need worldwide. But having said that, it is still far more reliable way of going racing than getting on a track, because one mistake on a track and you've totaled it. So Big Boss says, any social links? I think that might be for me. So social links for me at WeboRed5, WEBBORED and the number 5. And you can find me just about everywhere with that same tag. But it's very kind of everybody to leave compliments. But I'm just focusing on the race coverage so far. Volinkin is fastest, a 3:27.8, lands him roughly certainly in the top 10 so far, and really you only need to be in the top 15, of course, over the course of this qualifying evening. However, you might want to be in the top 12, really, by the sounds of things. There may be some extra drivers who are hoping to qualify outside of the session. Here is AG27 then. We saw a lot of lag going through the corners with him. He is second. Bolikbro third. Krutchko in fourth position. He's got a 29.9, and for me, that isn't going to be good enough to qualify just yet. Dimi is fifth. Sniper is sixth. Ronaldinho is seventh, and Riv currently in eighth position. Riv, our Nigerian driver at the moment. So let's see as the outlaps continue. I will do one more quick shout here for the QR code and the link you see in the description of today's video. One more shout for the donations in aid of Ukraine simracing. Please give whatever you can. And I think you've got the another QR code on the bottom left of the screen as well. I know it's quite difficult to click QR codes when you're actually watching on a mobile device, because that's the one you want to be clicking from. So you probably have to open the stream on a second device, or find the links in the description to take part and try to support what we're doing here. So Volyenkin goes to start his next lap, and this will be his next flyer. He may get another 2. He may even be able to get in and get a new set of tyres as well. So AG27 is currently second at the moment as Bolek in the black BMW comes through. One of the very few Ukrainian drivers. I haven't seen a Ukrainian flag on his car just yet, Yogi. Yogi is dealing with other drivers.
Sorry. Yeah.
That's not a problem. And then actually dealing with drivers is a problem coming out of the pits there for Dimi as well. And he had Jadlin close company on his tail as well. But a new record time from Jadlin that time. He goes 6th. And looks like we've got a couple of drivers jumping in and out of the lobby as well, just populating the chat there. But Jadlin, his fastest personal best, 3:31.0. So I think, again, the fastest drivers at the moment are at the head of the field and deep into their next lap. So we'll have a look at those drivers in a few moments. Meanwhile, I'm going to check in with Sniper and one of his countrymen behind him, Ronaldinho.
We can see that Volinkin left.
Yeah.
Maybe connection problem, but he have a good time to be in first group for sure, and this qualification don't affect to the position in the race. But yeah, it's not good. Unfortunately, have some issues with connection, not only in Ukraine. And we will think how to improve this moment, and maybe some updates in GTC, GT7 also can help us with that, because yeah, we have a lot of issues today, and yeah, it's first experience for us with international race, and we'll see. Bollebrook have a really good time, try to have a best lap.
Definitely, 3:29.797, Bollebrook's fastest time so far, but that is net third because Volinkin's time will stand his fastest time at 3:27.8. He's not reading at the top of the tower because, as Kyiv was just saying, he has disconnected, but he'll be fairly pleased with that lap, but I imagine he was certainly planning to go a fair bit faster than that, so yeah, hopefully he will be able to qualify, but he might have a case for possibly rejoining another session if possible. AG27, we've seen him lagging all over the place. He's got the second fastest time at the moment, and Kruchko then. Let's try and stay with Kruchko because I wonder going across the next sector whether we'll get an update. Or 0.3 of a second away. That's close enough to still improve in the final sector, but there's not much of the track left to go. As we get through to the next right-hander, then there's just the final left before the end of the circuit for him. So a big ask to try and regain that 0.3 of a second plus some, but he's only used a little bit of those soft tyres, so he'll certainly be able to run again with 2 minutes on the clock to go as he goes across the line then. Kruchko, I don't think will better his time, but he did gain a little bit in that final session. AG27 sets a new fastest time as well just now as he crossed the line, so the times are improving. Bollebrook, AG27 has gone for a 3:27.6, so he deposes the fastest time by Volyenko, who was fastest before, and so it's a bit difficult to ride with AG27 if we go through the corners. Through the straights is okay, but through the corners it can look a little bit uncomfortable for us. But Kruchko third, just behind him on track. And you can see just the sort of side-to-side action there on this, frankly, very, very pretty, distinct livery car that the whole team represents so well with. New time, that time for Ronaldinho. He goes faster still and up to 7th position. Looks like we have another record time being set. That might have been Dimi up to 4th place, but it's all about your qualifying time rather than your position in this particular session. Degarat says, oh no, it's 27, not 26. Indeed, it's 27 is still a little bit difficult. Too Fast For You says he thinks that Volinkin could have done a low 26 or possibly even a 25 if he had a fair crack at this on low fuel. So he may have an argument that he can try and better his time, but he might still qualify on the time he's set already. Fastest in this session so far, 3:27.629, with just this final lap for everybody still to go. Adlon here in the BMW M6 GT3. Let's see his time. Well, he's personal best through that particular sector, but only by 0.05 of a second. Sniper next on track, at least, with the two leaders, I think, although it might be Kruchko in AG27 at the head of the field, some way in ahead of this group, and hoping to cross the line shortly. So, just to update you, Volinkin did set his time. It will stand in this session, but he was disconnected, unfortunately, for us. Won't see him at his absolute maximum speed. Here comes Ronaldinho, though, to cross the line. Brushing the barrier, that's definitely not a quick way to go racing. So, Riv down at the tail of the field with one driver, I think, behind him on track, but Riv is good job at the moment, representing Nigeria today. Riv, as coming up towards the final sector time will be the head of the field here. AG27 at the head, and then either Bodikbro or Kruchko, can't remember which. Don't worry, he's not on the grass, is AG27. So about to cross his sector about now, and it's faster still. It's faster by 0.75 of a second. So he is trying to book his place here, and it would be a rare thing indeed for a field, for a qualification group that featured a distinct car to not make it through to the final stage. One of the fastest esports teams around. Here goes Kruchko just behind him as well. But coming out of the final corner comes AG27 for Spain, for distinct, and about to book his place, I think, into the race next week on the 24th of August. That is a 3:26.964 time from AG27. Kruchko, I don't think, has gone fast enough just yet, with Bolletbrook in second at the moment.
Yeah, it's also a really interesting session, and really sad that some two pilots in this session have a connection problem. I already suggest to have one extra session without a stream, just a session to have time.
Jimmy.
Yeah.
He goes second, but a 2.1 second away.
Whoa.
Excuse me, Georgi there, but he did push himself up to second position. I don't think he's quick enough to qualify overall, but things will show in the end, and I'll try my best to give you a breakdown of where things stand at the moment. Artemis for the distinct team is happy for that one from his teammate, and here we go then. We'll see the results for you shortly. So here are your overall results from this session distinctly. Forgive the pun. AG27, a 3:26.9. Dimmy, a 3:29.1. Bollockbrook, a 29.1 as well. Just 10 hundredths of a second away. Sorry, 10,000ths of a second away from Dimmy. Kruchko in fourth. Jadlin in fifth. And Sniper, Ronaldinho, and Riv. Rounding out your finishing order for the top 8 in that session. Volinkin set a 3:27.8. So that puts him a lot higher, up into second position officially. And Sindri, a 3:39.7, didn't really get the lap in the end. So the fastest time that we have seen overall, still in the very first session, and very closely followed, it was Lysenko, a 3:25.792. From Fletcher, a 25.8. Then we go into the third session. Gary will be in third place on a 3:26.6. AG27, a 3:26.9, books his place for sure for distinct into the race for the Independence Day celebration next week. And then we have Borovsky, I think, will qualify on a 3:27.6. We will see potentially the likes of Dedachuk, 28.5. We'll see Lionesi possibly, 28.2. Momot, it's a very similar time there. Mikalenko, I don't think will make it through for the Ukraine. I think David Adams for Iceland will be good. Fluffy, but maybe not for South Africa. And then I think we might well be seeing Bollockbrook and possibly outside chance to see Kruchko, but we will, of course, confirm at the start of proceedings. I don't think we'll be broadcasting the kind of mop-up event qualification session, but we will, of course, put out on socials the qualifying drivers before the race, I'm sure, on the 24th of August. Make sure that you join us. I'll just do this little bit in English before I hand over for the Ukrainian wrap-up. In English, at least on the 24th, Thursday the 24th, and that is 17 UTC, 18 UK time for me at least, and it will be a 12-lap race around this same circuit. But Georgi, what a fascinating session we had tonight, and yeah, let's have your thoughts as we wrap up the session tonight.
Yeah, it was really interesting, and a lot of beautiful liveries and beautiful race, and yeah, we have some problems with connection with GT, and we will think how to improve it for sure. For pilots who have problems, we open one extra lobby without stream. Yeah, so other info for pilots in the Discord. Maybe it's all from me, and Irina, you can continue.
Thank you, Georgi. Thank you, Weber. Thank you, Georgi, for your brilliant commentation. It was perfect. А я додам від себе, не від себе, а я скажу українською, те, що щойно сказав Георгій. Всі пілоти, які там вилетіли з сесії через погане інтернет-з'єднання або через ще якісь проблеми, буде зараз ще одна екстра сесія, але вона буде вже без стріму. Будь ласка, всі, хто хочуть зараз проїхати кваліфікацію, але щось пішло не так щойно, ви можете доєднатися, проінформувати про це Георгія і проїхати ще одну екстрасесію для того, щоб мати заліковий час, для того, щоб брати участь в перегонах, які відбудуться, власне, 24 серпня о 20-й. Георгій вже сказав. Георгій щойно сказав цю інформацію, яку я надала англійською мовою. Отже, іноземні пілоти в курсі, українські пілоти в курсі. А я ще раз дякую всім глядачам, всім пілотам, всім вболівальникам. Особливо подяка нашій команді, Георгій, Вебо та Іван, а ми будемо з вами прощатися. Отже, будь ласка, приходьте до нас 24.08 о 20-й годині за Києвом, і 25-го буде перегон на айрейсингу, також о 20-й годині. Отже, Георгій, давай заключне слово і...
Так, всім дякую, і це було дуже цікаво, дуже запекла боротьба, дуже гарне коментування від Веба, ми дійсно задоволені, дуже гарні ліверії. Не будемо тягнути, в принципі, на сьогодні вже достатньо екшена. Всім дякую, приходьте 24-го.
Thanks, Weber. Thanks all. And good luck.
Good luck and see you on August 24th at 20. Bye.